Hello. So the final theme of the day in this theatre is all about addressable and taking targeting to the next level. In the first presentation, David Evans, who's the Vice President of Global Advertising and Partnerships at NBCUniversal, will be discussing his research, which covers the media buying community in a custom study across 10 markets. David's going to talk about the key drivers that shape how audiences define premium content and much more. Also, something I just found out about David is that he actually used to work for Mediatel back in the day. We're now called AdWanted. But he was running mediatel.co.uk. Was it over 10 years ago, David?
Don't tell people how long ago it was.
It was a little while ago. So, maybe I'll have worked with him at some point. But very interesting facts. Anyway, please give a warm round of applause for David Evans.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm David Evans, NBCUniversal. It's lovely to be here. It's pantomime season, and it's the last session of the day. So perhaps let's try and do a little bit of audience participation as we go through this deck, and also say in case I forget to ask a question. So if eager people in the audience can remember when shots from the World Cup final come up on screen, just shout, David, don't forget your question. And then that will help me out quite a lot. But yeah, so we're going to talk a lot about high quality content and why advertisers should care. And again, when you're speaking at the end of a session or at the end of a day at a conference, you kind of see all these brilliant people speaking before you. You're like, yeah, that's really good, that's really good, that's really good. And I'm going to kind of say some stuff like that as well. So hopefully it's going to kind of trigger some thoughts from earlier in the day and give you some interesting perspectives and points of view on it as well. So there we go. This is the title. What audience consider high-quality viewing and why should they care? Or also, not all fit-for-TV impressions are equal. The fit-for-TV definition is something that's been broadly kind of accepted and endorsed as a kind of barometer of quality. But I think, in a way, that does TV down in a bit. And I'll sort of tell a story as we go through these presentations, tell you why. And again, thinking about conference bingo, I hope people are ticking off the box every time people hear Karen Nelson Field mention show the 2-second piece of an advert and saying, well, how's that an actual view? Nothing's been told there. You can't see what the brand is. There's no way to get any real engagement. And then if you look on the other side of the chart, again, there'll probably be a ton of mentions of Lumen today as well. But research that they've done is looking at ads that are qualified as being viewed are actually not viewed. And 70% of those aren't being viewed at all. So there's obviously an issue there with advertising in our marketplace. We've also just done some research amongst media buyers here in the UK. And this is specifically amongst AV planners and buyers. And you can kind of tell from here, this is asking them what they think about premium content. And you can tell there's also a slight disconnect here as well. So if up here, quality is a big question mark. The perception is there's a mix of high-quality, desirable inventory alongside a lot of lower-quality placements. Quality video is limited outside VOD. And then this one was great because he's got he or she has got the kind of first definition, which is a fit-for-TV definition off pat. But then the second piece is like, well, actually, it doesn't really matter if I'm planning on buying YouTube. So, again, there's a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace, a lot of concern about transparency, and a lot of concern about quality as well. And this was kind of the gem or the beginning of the piece of research we've just conducted. And this was a research paper that came out from our partner company, Comcast Advertising, around a year ago about what is premium video. And they built out 4 key pillars. And there's 3 up on screen, all of which kind of we're generally responsible for, and we can kind of have a point of view on and say, yeah, I kind of agree with that. It's kind of standard. So transparency, brand safe, and being seen by real people. But then when we were reading this report, and I sort of saw the 4th point in terms of what's a high-quality viewing experience. And again, there's lots of comments and lots of mentions in the event yesterday about quality being in the eye of the beholder. So we thought we'd try and explore that a little bit more and try and understand actually what audiences perceive high quality to actually be. So I think, was anybody in the panel beforehand? Or anybody listened to the session beforehand? I think everybody spoke about QR codes that they don't appear on screen long enough. So I'm just going to take a quick sip of water. If anyone wants to screen grab that, you can download this report. This is like a pause ad and an ad innovation sort of thing. So this is a report we created. And again, click on the QR code and download that, or just ping me a message on LinkedIn or whatever, and I can happily forward that over to you. We conducted research in 8 markets with 8,000 different people. So a ton of interviews, a ton of insight across all different regions around the world. But it was really kind of difficult, and it took a long time and a lot of conversations, both internally and externally, to try and think about all the different composite elements that make up a high-quality viewing experience. And this is my really badly designed word cloud, because when you're trying to design word clouds, it's quite difficult to get the colours and font size and everything all right, so it's my very poor effort. But you can sort of see we've tried to correlate the different colours with different factors. So you can see an own streaming platform in green, content aggregator. We can look at low-quality UGC against broadcast-quality UGC. You can look at platforms like mobile, fast, global streamer, tablet or laptop, etc., etc. And as part of the research, we gave each respondent 8 scenarios of a combination of each of those things. And what that meant is we have 4,320 different combinations to play with, all those different factors. I guess you don't really want to see all 4,320, so we'll cut straight to the chase by looking at what came out on top and then what came out at 4,320 across all those different levels that we looked at. So first of all, the content provider, and these sort of things all work in situ. So national network and own streaming platform won over UGC influencer and content aggregator, as you would guess. Device would be big screen at home with others compared to a mobile phone. Show content duration was long form versus short form. When the content was made, a newly released piece of content as opposed to evergreen content was better. And then when we looked at the ad experience, it was really nice seeing Katie speak earlier about how she's got that, WBD have got that 90 seconds soulless ad break set up. So the number of breaks per hour kind of mirrored that, 1 or 2 per hour, 1 ad per break, as opposed to a content aggregator experience, which is sometimes quite intrusive. And again, what that meant was, when given that scenario, respondents were 4.6 times more likely to say the one on the left demonstrates a high-quality viewing experience as opposed to the one on the right. Yeah, this bit. We're in Hall 2. We're not in Hall 1. That means we don't get the power and benefit of Justin Leben, and also you get a presentation. So I'm trying to sort of recreate it as if Justin's in the room, we've got Leben GPT. It's like, why is high quality important then? Well, high-quality content delivers high-quality outcomes. So when people were given those choices, for that high-quality piece of content or high-quality viewing experiences they were given, they were more likely to notice advertising, they were more likely to be more positive to the brand, and they're more likely to consider. That's a no-brainer. If there's a high-quality viewing experience, you're going to have high levels of engagement towards the advertising as well. Right, but what makes content high quality? These are some of the drivers we looked at. So if you look at the bottom in terms of detail, that only contributed 14% to the overall impact. And when we say detail, we mean long form versus short form, and actually recently released versus evergreen. So that element of high quality didn't really make that much difference. Device moved from 17, or was 17%, the content producer was 20, and the platform was 24%. But here's the kicker. Ad experience is as important as any of those other drivers. So you can have great content, a great platform, but if you've got a lousy ad experience, it's going to be less likely to deliver a high-quality viewing experience. And we kind of thought of this more like a sort of Jenga puzzle. So you want to have 5 blocks there as much as you can do, but if you pull away any block, then things can fall down and that high-quality experience can't be delivered. Then this is quite interesting as well, because you look at the different elements between each of the drivers. So a bit like saying for detail and those 4 different elements I described, if you play around with those different levels, it only makes about 10% difference. So it doesn't really make any difference between evergreen and recently released, or long form and short form. But if you look at the ad experience, the variance between a poor ad experience and a good ad experience is huge. So not only is it a really important driver, there's a lot of flexibility and flex in between that as well. And that's important for viewers, but it's also super important for advertisers. So again, you might have seen my big boss speak this morning, so Mark Marshall, and he was talking about Peacock. So Peacock's been around for about 5 years. It's really been a pioneer in innovation. So, well, again, in the panel earlier, when people were talking about pause ads, Peacock were really the first people to take pause ads to market, and they're doing a bunch of interesting innovations, and we test it constantly with lots and lots of viewer experience research. And you can see here from these different drivers, if you take a standard CT ad experience based on KMB norms in the US, and then you look at Peacock data, you can see uplifts for brand awareness, brand favourability and purchase intent. So it does show that the ad experience does have an impact for both the viewers and both the advertisers as well. Back to Justin. All right, but what have you learned? 4,320 combinations still aren't enough. It's when we look through this, and we kind of looked at it pretty much through a platform lens and a content delivery lens, What we didn't really factor into it, because again, it would have been really complicated and make that data stretch really wide and really not give a great respondent experience, we didn't necessarily think about the content that much. And we sort of thought that fit for TV piece would be enough. Here's some data again from Lumen, but this just shows how that can vary across different metrics and different ways of measuring attention and viewing. So programs, the type of program on a channel, you see a huge amount of variance. And then if you look at the specific channel, channel by channel, again, a lot of variance, and then by day part, a little bit as well. So if you're on one program on one channel on one day part, it can deliver varying different levels of intention from if you're in the best performing element. This is another confidence challenge that I thought about doing, and I don't know if anyone's ever done this before, but I'm going to open up, I'm going to be honest and open and broad with you. I'm going to show you what's on my PVR, which is kind of, tell me you're a middle-aged man without telling me you're a middle-aged man. So, there's a lot of a place in the sun in there. There's some grand designs, there's some college football, and then there's Premier League soccer. So this is all content I've got on my PVR that's series linked. You can say two are being recorded at the same time. And again, people that aren't from the UK may not be familiar with A Place in the Sun. It's a show that we watch and we obsess about, and it's about people who are looking to buy a second property abroad. They're all Brexit, and bringing Brexit into the conversation. I'm not sure if anyone's particularly done that today, but we're all thinking, we love Europe, we want to move to Europe, we want to live there if we can, as much as we can, for more than 90 of 180 days. So that's why we all watch it. However, this was when I was scrolling through watching football the other day, this was the PVR that was brought in front of me, or the streaming guide in front of me. So you got live Super Sunday, live, unique, first time, and then Sky had this brilliant tagline called "It's only live once," which is absolutely true, and this is why live content is so important for broadcasters. And then you've got 4/7 HD, which has got A Place in the Sun, which is a 7-day kind of recap. And then you've got two other channels showing other shows as well, and these can go back years and years and years and years. You can, you watch it all the way back to the end. It says, the exchange rate at that time was like €2 to the pound, and you're like, that's not realistic, that's not true. So the point of that is that there's fit for TV content, which all this matches, and also it's content that I love, and I watch both of them. But there's a difference in terms of engagement, recency, and how new that content is. Anyone going to ask me the question? Not yet. Cool. So this looks at emotional engagement, and I don't know if is anyone aware of a company called, it used to be called MindProbe, and it's now called MediaProbe? No? OK, interesting. Well, we do research with them, both here and in the US, and basically they have biometric sensors in their hand, or sorry, in viewers' hands, and you can tell on the right-hand side, this is where their level of engagement increases or decreases as they're watching the actual show. This was taken from the World Cup final a few years ago. Apologies for people from France who might be in the crowd. But you can see, super interesting game, amazing moments, amazing amounts of peaks and troughs. When they look at their overall database, they look at thousands and thousands of viewing minutes, thousands and thousands of viewing moments, and we've got ultimate and significant. So ultimate is looking at the 0.01% of responses in their database. Those moments of TV content that are driving those huge emotional peaks, and 86% of those come from sports. Then if you look at the next tier down, which is significant, 0.1, then 76% of those are delivered in sports as well. And sports is one example of really strong live content, but there's others like entertainment. And actually entertainment people are really good at making content because they get absolute crescendos. So you can see at the end of a reality show or a competition show how that audience builds up and is super engaging and super strong. What's interesting, though, is what happens with this kind of data, excuse me, is delivering significant emotional peaks during a viewing session means you get extra recall when you're for aligned advertising. So as long as you're hitting a peak somewhere in that content, you get bigger amounts of advertising recall as well. So, questions time. What was the biggest, most high or highest emotionally engaging score that was delivered by content here in the UK this year? There's a little prize if anyone can guess. Anyone? If anyone's from the Netherlands, they might also be able to guess what it might be. Something to... Sorry? There you go. Very plasma, wrong hand as well. I'm very impressed with that. Congratulations. So, Ollie Watkins, last-minute equaliser in the Euros, delivered emotional engagement off the scale, showing that's the power and gravitas that only live sport or live content can provide. This is a golden age of TV, right, says Justin. This way we have to be careful as an industry. 2022 was the year of peak TV. 13,357 shows were commissioned during that year across 20 countries, you can see below. And I didn't collect this was from Ampere Analysis. They were first run or renewal commissions, so tons of content being created. However, this year we're going to see a 19% drop in that across all those markets. If you look at commercial or free-to-air TV, pay TV or free-to-air TV, that's going to drop by 24%. You think, oh, it's all right, because we've got streamers now, they can help us out. Their numbers have dropped by 31%. So we're saying that content's important, content's powerful, content engaging, we're creating less content. So there's going to be a very sort of decreasing circle if we're not careful. And so what? And again, I think there's a presentation on earlier today, which was really nice to see, because it kind of correlated with this as well. If you're happy with the content you're receiving, you're going to be more likely to say that the number of ads you've got are acceptable, and you're more likely to have a positive attitude towards advertising as well. So it's in all of our interests that we support and encourage great content, powerful content, live content, because it's an environment where advertising can thrive. So to wrap up, great content means happy audiences. Happy audiences mean happy advertisers. Ultra-premium content, I think, again, Katie called it super premium. I think super premium is actually better than ultra-premium content, so I might take that up from now on. But having that, coupled with a premium ad experience, creates differentiation for advertising, but more importantly, for TV as an industry to thrive. That's me done. Thank you ever so much.